Yes.
Yeah, but see, I'm going to apply that to the same thing as like reading a book, okay? So like reading a book. If you're reading a book you're not interested in, that's going to take forever. But you read something that you're actually in, like
Immerse yourself in.
I don't know what the fuck that means, Cody, but like
It's time for the Garage Boozing Podcast.
what's up, nerds? And welcome back to another episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast. I'm your host, the man with absolutely no plan, the Chase with the face for radio, Chase Shurga. And dorks, it's finally the moment you have all been waiting for. It's time for part 2 of my conversation with Cody and Brandon. And if you loved part 1, oh boy, you are going to love part 2. So without further ado, you know what time it is. It's time to sit back, relax, kick your feet up, crack open a cold one, and if you're really feeling fruity, take a shot. Why not? Because this week's episode of the Garage Boozing Podcast starts now. And support for the Garage Boozing Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you with the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide, and I have an exclusive offer for my listeners. 20% off plus free shipping when you use the promo code TGBP20 at manscaped.com. That TGBP obviously stands for the Garage Boozing Podcast. But all right, boys, trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code TGBP20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code TGBP20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So, I know we were talking about the whole motivation thing, how it makes you money, but you're also helping other people. This is a question for both of you. Do you think money buys happiness? I've asked this question a million times on the podcast to different other different people, but like I would like to know what you think. And I'll answer last. I'll go last.
So it's funny you say that. So obviously, like on the side, like I do Uber and stuff like that, and
best Uber driver I've ever had, by the way.
Even though I didn't get on Barstool though.
I know you didn't. You're right. You're right.
I can be top two.
Top two. You're
top
right.
two is okay. So I actually, with doing that, especially around here, you meet a lot of local people. A lot of people you might not expect. And like one of the local restaurant owners, I actually picked him up on Friday. And, he was telling me how he's a millionaire and he made all this money and stuff like that. And he said point blank, he's like, money will not buy you happiness. And through our conversation, I kind of resonated with that because if you're an unhappy person, I feel like money is just going to put more pressure on you to be happy if you're not. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to you're going to force reasons to be happy. So I don't feel like money necessarily buys happiness unless it's something where you're finding happiness with the things that you're doing because of money. So whether money is the direct...
So is that not essentially the same thing?
No, because you can buy everything in the world, but if it's not truly making you happy, if you're not spending the money on things that are actually going to make you happy, then no. Money might be the source of where that happiness comes from, but just having money is not going to make you happy. Doing the right things with that money will make you happy.
And I think what you're saying, too, is doing what it is you do to earn money. If that doesn't make you happy, then the end result of money won't make you happy either.
Right. Well, that's the thing, too. So, like, say if you got all the money in the world and then you buy that $1 billion house, but it's not making you happy because now you're just, like, looking at that, I just spent $1 billion and it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. It's all in how you interpret what you're doing with that money.
Yeah. I was working with... While I was closing on this house, I was working with a realtor who was talking to me about some of the houses they sold. Because I asked them, like, what are the most expensive houses you sold? And they work in Saratoga, $1 million homes. And they actually helped Bobby Flay. You know Bobby Flay from the cooking channel? Mm-hmm. They helped him with a home, and they were all excited about it because he's very wealthy, and he was buying a $3 million home over on Saratoga Lake. They said that he was one of the most miserable people to possibly work for. And I said, oh, really? Why? And they were like, well, he got there. He was short on time. He said, this shouldn't take this long. I'm paying cash. Why is this taking so long? And long story short, she told me a story about this guy who pulled up to the real estate office in a Ferrari. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And the guy gets out, and he's got, like, ragged hair. He looks
like
dirty.
Like a scrub.
He looks like a scrub. He looks like a homeless guy. He's wearing sweatpants, and he walks into the office, And this guy's buying also a $3 million home. And she's like, you would never know by looking at this guy that he's buying
Can't
a
judge a
home.
book by the cover.
Yeah,
You
literally.
can't.
And that's why she brought this up. She said, you would never know he's buying a $3 million home, but this was one of the nicest guys we've ever worked with. He bought us all bottles of wine. He got us massages for each of us. And she looked at me and she's like, money doesn't make you happy, but money really amplifies who you already are. If you're a giving person, money's going to make you more giving. If you are an angry, non-forgiving person, money's going to make you more of that too. So I personally believe money can get you nice things. It can get you a car. But let me tell you this. A lot of people look at me and they're like, Brandon, I love your car. It's so nice. I had a new hire once look at me and they're like, have you seen Brandon's car? It's so nice. And it's like, to me, I get in my car now.
It's a BMW, by the way.
And it's the same exact feeling that you would get as when I got in my Kia.
Yeah.
The feeling isn't different. To other people, it might seem different. But for me, your normal changes. So money doesn't make you happy. It's exactly what you just said. What you do to earn the money, you have to be happy doing that because the end result of money won't make you happy if you're not doing something.
Well,
that
especially
makes
once you
happy.
have that money, as long as you're doing things that are making you happy with it. Like if you're just buying houses, if that's not making you happy, then you're not going to be happy. Now, if it's allowing you to donate, money to people and help people out, if you enjoy helping others, then yeah, that money's phenomenal. It's the best thing that ever happened to you. And it's kind of cool too, like some of the celebrities, you mentioned Bobby Flay. So like where I grew up, is close to New Hampshire. And one of the Vermont. So the lead singer of Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, has a house, I believe, on Lake Sunapee. And they, the locals where we would generally go shopping in New Hampshire, he would typically go in there, and he would go in there in this old beat-up pickup truck. This phenomenal lead singer of a world-renowned band is driving in a beat-up pickup truck.
Wow.
Like, to me, that, like, more than anything, that spoke volumes. It's like, he can buy whatever he wants, and he's choosing to drive into town in a beat-up pickup to go to the local grocery store. He's not having somebody else go out and buy that stuff for him. He's going and doing it himself. Like, to me, like, that had just a whole new level of respect for him as a person.
So what I'm going to say is I do agree with bits and pieces of what you guys both said, but I will say I think money does buy happiness. Well, not buy happiness, but I think money does give you happiness. And that's just, as me as I'm looking at my life, a shit ton of money would make me happy, and let me tell you why. Because I think people who are like, if I was grown up with like super rich parents and like a rich snob, stuff like that, I don't think I would appreciate money as much, right? When I was growing up, my dad had custody. And school years and stuff was all spent with my dad. My grandparents would give me money for lunch, stuff like that. But my mom, I would go to my mom in the summer, Christmas and stuff like that. And like Christmases at my mom's were great. Like, oh my God, so many presents, stuff like that, amazing. But then I would come home and like, I never really understood because I was so young. I didn't realize the value of money. And there was times where I'd ask my dad for this much money. Here, I'm going to do this with my friends and stuff like that. And like now that I'm older, I realize that like it was tough for him to give me that money. But like I didn't realize it at the time. So like now I understand it. So like now if I hit a point in my life where like I get rich and I have millions of dollars, I'm going to appreciate that so much more. And you bet your ass it's going to make me so fucking happy. And back to what you said, Cody. Cody said, it depends on how you spend your money, of course. So like if I'm filthy rich, but I'm spending my money on shit that doesn't make me happy, I think that's stupid. I'm going to spend money on literally everything that makes me happy. And that might be buying a boat, buying a really nice car, buying a really nice house. Sure, it's going to make me happy. And like, I don't know. Me personally, I think having a lot of money would make me happy because if I can do anything I want, I'm happy.
But do you feel like you would sustain it though?
What does that mean?
So like, all right. So when the COVID initially hit, right, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, I get to stay home. I don't have to work. Like I'm gonna have money from the government, like that sort of thing." People were excited because they were getting a paid vacation.
Sure.
Okay, they had that for a month, and then after a month, they were like, "All right, I really got to get out of the house. I got to go out and got to go do something." Do you believe buying those items is gonna keep you happy, or is it gonna initially make you happy, but you're gonna be looking for something else? So like for me personally, like I feel like if I was super rich, like even right now, like especially like when the holidays happen, like I love finding charities, like especially when we used to our previous job where they used to adopt a family. Like to me, that's huge. Like it's $100 out of my pocket, which $100 is still $100, but for me, knowing that $100 to somebody else is $1,000, $10,000. Like for me, if I had like just unimaginable money, like yes, I would take care of myself, I would take care of my loved ones, but I also take care of complete strangers. Like, especially, I love the people, like, I saw something on Facebook where they had shown up at the Grateful Den recently where it's this group of women that they basically leave these enormous tips at local restaurants that are run by women. And I think that's phenomenal. Like, you're going around, you're supporting a local business, which I think is huge just in itself. But on top of that, like, you're doing it, and you're doing it anonymously. You're not, like, doing it for, like, social media attention or anything like that. You're literally just doing it to be a good person, which I feel like is almost kind of a lost art in some ways. Like, I feel like a lot of things, like, with the videos online and stuff like that, like, oh yeah, look at, we helped this homeless person. I'm an awesome person for helping them out.
Yeah.
This person does it for no attention whatsoever. They just do it to be a good person. Like, I feel like that's who I would want to be if I had that amount of money where it was like, for lack of a better term, like unlimited. Like, I could never spend it.
And I do agree with that, and I'm gonna lead back to what you said about how, like, when you have a bunch of money, if you're a giving person or a miserable person, I'm a giving person. So, like, I just made myself sound really selfish when I said I'd buy a car and do a bunch of shit. Like, yeah, I would do all of that. I would buy a really nice house, a really nice car. I'd buy this, and this for me. But if I had quote unquote unlimited money, like, I'm gonna do a shit ton of stuff for other people. Like, my family's set for life. People I care about, like, if I have a really good friend that's having a problem, like, I'm gonna get them out of that problem. Like, I will do my not due diligence, I guess, not really due diligence, but, like, I'm gonna do my thing for my community, people I care about, stuff like that. But, like, I'm also gonna take care of myself. And You bet your ass, me having a really nice car is gonna make me happy. Me having a really nice house with 1 million bathrooms and 1 million bedrooms, I'm really happy. But at the same time, exactly what you said, if I'm helping other people, nothing makes me happier than when I see someone struggling, and if I can help them and they're happy from what I did, that makes me feel good.
Well, let me ask you this. What's going to make you happier? Having the Bugatti, the house, everything that you possibly could want, or is it the feeling and the knowing that you can have whatever you want? It's the feeling of knowing that you have security, you have comfort, you have safety, knowing that you're not going to be foreclosed on, knowing that you're not going to be in debt.
You don't have to worry about your bills.
Exactly. Is it the things, or is it the feeling of certainty, knowing that you're secure in what you have?
That's a tough question, and I'm going to answer that by saying both. I think both would make me happy. I'm going to say 50-50 because having the really nice shit, of course, is going to make me happy. I like nice things already. I'm not rich by any means, but, like, do I like to spend top dollar on top dollar things? Yes, I do. But at the same time, like, if I had that security in the back of my mind, like, oh my God, I don't have to worry about making my mortgage this month. I don't have to worry about paying this bill. That's going to make me happy too. Because if you're filthy rich, you're not worrying about your bills. Like, your bills are on auto pay. You're not giving a fuck, like, so that would make me happy too. Because, like, now, ever since I was young, when I first got my first credit card, I have a little notebook. It's like a little notebook pad. Each month, I literally have, like, June 2016, July 2016. It's my bills written out. I'm writing out all my bills. If I was filthy rich, I wouldn't have to do that, And I'm not saying by any means that I worry about my bills. Like, yeah, I can pay all my bills, fine. But I'm just saying, like, do I sit down, like, once a month and literally go paid and, like, set everything paid, like, stuff like that, and, like, write it all out? Yes, I always do. But, like, if I was filthy rich, I wouldn't have to do that, I don't think.
And I'll tell you, when I was making $9.95 an hour at Walmart, I had problems, right? When I was making over $100,000 a year, I still had problems.
Right.
But what I'll tell you about money is I would much rather have the problems that I had when I was making over $100,000 a year.
Of course.
Than the problems I had when I was making $9. It feels a lot better to roll up to your problems in a Bugatti than to roll up in your problems with no car at all.
Absolutely.
And a bunch of other issues going on.
Absolutely. So that's why my answer to your question would be both. I think both is my answer. Draft Top. The Draft Top was designed to give you a better drinking experience all around, and this is how. So you take your beer can, place it in your hand, and then you take our cool little nifty Draft Top, you stick it right on top of the beer can, give it a little squeeze, and then a little friction, a little to the left, a little to the right. Boom, that easy. You take the tool, push it right inside, and guess what? It just took the top of your beer can right off. By removing the top of the beer can, you get an all-around better drinking experience. You can smell the aromas of the alcohol, you can chug your beer a hell of a lot faster. So forget about a red Solo cup, I'll fill you up. Draft Top just turned your beer can into a cup. So I want you to have one, you want you to have one, Draft Top wants you to have one, and you can get yours now at www.drafttop.com. And don't forget to use promo code 10%-garagebozing at checkout. That is 10%-garage boozing for 10% off www.drafttop.com site-wide. Get yours now. Thank me later. All right, back to the show.
I think for me, like, and this kind of goes back to, so we're going to talk about cars. What did I drive for the longest time? Where you guys each probably had 2, 3, 4 cars. Like for me, like the actual items, like they don't mean anything to me. Like, you know, and it's nothing to like shame, but like when I first got my new car, like for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I felt great about it. But then after a while, I'm like, it's a car.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me. It's a temporary solution.
Well, that's everybody that gets a new car. You're high about it for like a week or two, and then eventually it's just like you're in it every day to go to where you got to go.
True,
so,
but for me, like the biggest thing, like my perfect utopia, and one thing that I'm striving for is I just want to be able to be in a position where I work my 40 hours a week. I'm in a position where I can still live my life, still do things in my free time, but I don't have to worry about a second job. I don't have to worry about doing things on the side. I don't have to worry about my bills. Which, granted, I convince myself, similar to like losing weight, I convince myself that I'm broke, so I pay my bills ahead and I take care of various things.
You've always done that. You've always paid your bills ahead.
And that's the thing too. So like for me, like I'm not a status-driven person where I feel like people buying those high-end vehicles, they're trying to impress everybody else. They're not really.
Totally.
That
was me.
I don't feel like it makes them happy, and I could be wrong. Granted,
that was me.
I haven't been in that position to own that kind of vehicle, but for me, like buying a $20,000 car is the same as buying a $100,000 car.
Dude, when
I will say, like, I'm sorry, I'll let you go in a second, but like, I will say, like, yes, I think people that are buying the Highline cars and stuff like that, maybe there's a little bit of, like where they want to impress this person, stuff like that. But at the same time, being that person and knowing you got to the point where you can afford that car, that feels good. So like driving that car, I think for that person, probably there are definitely people that'll go out and buy like a fucking Bugatti, as you were saying, just to like shine it, or a Ferrari and shine it in everyone's faces they have it. But there's also those people, like you mentioned, the guy walking to the real estate place, shaggy hair, looking like a scrub, who might have had a Ferrari and he's loving his life because he's got that Ferrari and doesn't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. You know, he's like, I worked here, I worked to this point, and I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to the point too, like for me, like I didn't grow up in New York. So like for me, like there's a lot of things that were initially foreign to like moving here, which is kind of weird to say for people that grew up around here. Like growing up in Vermont, like there's status driven things, but there's really not status driven. So everything in New York is very fast paced, where Vermont's very laid back. It's very like
don't get too excited, folks. We're talking upstate New York, not the city.
True. So it's one of those things though, like if you go to like Saratoga, for instance, like that is a place where it's very upscale in a lot of ways.
A bunch of yuppies there.
That's very true.
I call them yuppies. Yeah, that's
very
what they
true.
are.
Well, especially like so, like even driving Uber, like there's a distinct difference with the people I pick up around here versus the people I pick up down there.
Sure.
And I actually make more money driving here than I do down there, because down there people will be like, well, you're bringing me where I want to go. Like, you should feel appreciative for it. Where around here, people appreciate me just being available to pick them up.
Have you ever kicked anyone out of the car?
I haven't, no, but I've had times where I probably should have. But that's a story for probably another day. I don't think you have enough. You don't have enough time in this podcast.
Fair.
That's
we have as much time as you need.
That'll be the next podcast. You want to have Uber stories from Cody Hinkley?
That'll be the title. Next time Cody's on Uber Stories.
I don't have a lot of great ones.
The Uber Chronicles with Cody Hinkley.
But it's one of those things where, like, for me, like, I take appreciation for the little things.
Me too.
And I feel like that's really important. So, like, it's what I was talking to you the other day about, going for a hike, since, you're working a little bit more on the floor and stuff like that. So for me, like, one of my most enjoyable things that I do, like, and you're welcome to come along if you want to.
Please.
Like, going to Sleeping Beauty at, like, literally having headlamps on, you're walking in the dark up a mountain, which...
Nope, I'll be sleeping, but thanks for the invite.
I appreciate that. So it's one of those things, but you literally hit the peak right at sunrise, and it's literally only for about 2 to 3 minutes, but it is like the most picture perfect like moment. Like the world is still asleep, but you're just literally like it's like a euphoric high.
What time of day would you say that is?
So it's generally, you have to hit the peak probably about like 6.
Yep, I'm sleeping. I appreciate the invite.
You have to start at the bottom at probably 4:45.
Nope, that's okay.
So that means you're up at like 4 driving.
So this is what I'll do. While you guys are on the hike, I'll like put
I
myself...
tell you, I'm gonna FaceTime you.
I'll put myself into a lucid dream where I'm like having an outer body experience, and I'll fly over to the peak with you while I'm in my dream. And while you guys are up there, I'll be like, hey, but you won't hear me because I'm in my dream. But that's the closest.
You'll be with us in spirit.
Exactly.
But how do we know that this isn't a dream?
We don't. It's a simulation, man.
Yeah. The probability says
Yeah,
so.
and that's what I talk to Ben about all the time. Ben thinks we're in a simulation, man.
We are in a simulation. I mean, when you're in a dream, when you're in a lucid dream and it feels real, what's different about that lucid dream that we're not experiencing right now in this moment? When the alarm goes off and you wake up and you're like, whoa, that was real. What's the difference of what we're in right now?
I think the difference is we wake up every day. We go to bed every day, have dreams and stuff like that. So, like, how can you have a dream inside a dream? Is that a possibility?
Well, how do we know that this isn't a dream inside of another real life?
Yeah, how do
it's
we-
just a longer dream.
Yeah, we might just think this all started, like...
Man, this is a very long dream, and I just wish they would make my bills stop at this point.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, who knows? This could be a dream because, like, you know, dreams happen and you're in a dream and you start from where the dream starts. So, like, who knows? Maybe there wasn't a yesterday. We just all woke up today and, like, thought we all knew each other and stuff like that. But, like, at the same time, we're in a dream. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. In like, say, like in Dreamland, like an hour is really like seconds in real life.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, like, if you think about years, okay, years in, you know, post dream world is maybe an hour or something like that. Like, we're just scratching the surface of that time frame, which
And the thing is, time is a man-made construct.
That's true. You're right.
Clocks were made by man.
Mayans.
Daylight savings
Was it
time?
the Mayans? I think it was the Mayans, right?
Thousands of years before the Mayans.
they at least had a calendar.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did have the calendar.
They were a very smart civilization, but time was created in a way to make life more convenient for the people going through it. Time doesn't exist. You ever do something and time goes by very, very quickly?
Yeah.
And then you watch something waiting for the clock to turn, but time doesn't move. Time is all relative.
Like ninth period in high school, the last period in high school, I used to watch that clock and wait for the bell to ring so I could go home.
Literally.
Well, it's like they talk about, like, you know, your minutes on a treadmill or like feel like an hour, but like
Yes.
minutes like on like a weekend. Like, this is a weekend, obviously, and like I feel like I just blinked and now it's over.
Yes.
Yeah, but see, I'm going to apply that to the same thing as like reading a book, okay? So like reading a book. If you're reading a book you're not interested in, that's going to take forever. But you read something that you're actually in, like
Immerse yourself in.
I don't know what the fuck that means, Cody, but like
So like you're in the book.
indulged, right? Is that the word,
Like,
indulged?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm indulged. I'm interested in the book. So if I'm interested in the book I'm reading, I'm going to keep reading it, just like a movie or a TV show. You're interested in the show, then time's going to go up like this. But if it's something you're really not interested in, doesn't have the hook, line, and sinker, then it's going to like take forever. So I think that's the same thing that applies to exactly what you were just saying. It depends on your interest, I guess.
I completely agree.
Yeah, like I don't know. I have ADD, so I'm like ball, squirrel, shiny ball, tree. And then like something has to really grasp my
You read the
attention.
same word like 7 times. Like, I'm really gonna start this page this time.
Do you know how many times I've literally, like, especially back in, because I actually didn't get diagnosed with ADD until after high school when I was in college, and I wish I had in high school because I swear to God, if I had Adderall back in high school, I would have been an A+ student. Well, maybe not an A+, at least a B+ student all across the board. But like, the thing is like with ADD, when an Adderall, for example, like I take that, I can be focused on one thing, but like when I'm not on Adderall, when I don't, and the thing is like there's kids that'll be like taking Adderall to stay up all night, stuff like that. That doesn't happen to me. I take an Adderall to like be focused on my daily life, which is nuts. How I don't understand the science behind it, but what Adderall does to me, and what it does to people that don't have ADD, total opposites, man. Like I can take an Adderall and go to bed 5 minutes later, and I feel nothing. But people that don't have ADD, those are the kids that are like popping pills to like be up all night and have a rager and have a great time. So like if I had that back in school, like I would have been so laser focused, but like my brain is just all over the place. And I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Are you on Adderall right now?
Yeah, I take Adderall every day, yeah.
So you're on it right now?
Well, yes, actually, yeah, I guess you could say yes, I am.
The thing is, your ADD, I know a person who has ADD, and it's a superpower of theirs. And when they're asked, what's your superpower? They say ADHD is my superpower.
See, but I don't have ADHD. I have ADD. There's a difference. There's two different. There's attention deficit disorder. There's attention deficit hyper disorder. I don't have the hyper. I was diagnosed with the can't pay attention. I wasn't diagnosed with the fidgeting, like going nuts. Like that's what the ADHD is. But anyway, continue what you're saying.
Well, the thing is, you pay attention to the things that mean the most to you.
Correct.
Like this podcast means the most to you. You'll spend hours on it each day. But things that don't mean the most to you, like school, which is a standardized education system that's not designed to teach you what you need to know. It's designed to teach you what the government wants you to know. You're not interested in that because that's not what you're interested in.
I hated school, man. I hated it.
And that's okay.
I liked going to school to see my friends and stuff like that, but like actually sitting down in class and learning. Like, I hated history. I did like math. Math I was all right with, but like science, I hated that. English, I hated that, obviously, because I suck at words. Like, yeah, school just wasn't my thing. I couldn't wait to get out. So then once I went to community college, I hated that too and dropped out. And here I am having a podcast being an alcoholic. All right, folks, let me tell you all about the pump action shotgun tool. Whoa, there's a tool for shotgunning? Hell yeah, there is. So listen to this. The pump action shotgun tool, created by the Drunk Engineers. Love that name, by the way. It makes shotgunning a hell of a lot easier, and let me tell you how. So you're going to take your beer, and you're going to stick it right in the shotgun tool, like this. Hold it like that so the air pockets are up here, and then you're going to give it a little squeeze. You're going to hear pop, bam, pop. But look at that, no mess. So right now the air pocket's right up here, and you're going to want to make sure you take this, push that down, and then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the tool. Hold the beer can in place to the mouthpiece. Then you're going to put your mouth on the mouthpiece and shotgun. And boom, no mess. You can shotgun at the dinner table, family events, wherever you want with absolutely no mess. So forget shotgunning, slamming a knife right through. Yeah, not a thing anymore. Thanks to the Pump Action Shotgun Tool by Drunk Engineers. And you can get yours right now. So just log on to www.drunkengineers.ca. Don't forget to use promo code GarageBoozing for 15% off site-wide. That's right, promo code GarageBoozing for 15% off site-wide. Go get yours now. Thank me later. Back to the show.
In 10 years from now, it's going to be a global podcast.
I know. I'm going to be rich, Dad. I'm bringing us to Hollywood.
And you're going to be like, I don't have a college education. I don't have you do have a full high school education.
I do have
but
that.
You're not an A student because school doesn't mean anything. I have met thousands of people who say, I've got a college degree, and they're the worst in their craft, and they're not using their degree because school doesn't mean anything.
And they're tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundred thousands of dollars in debt.
And if you're doing it like my wife to do something that she wants to do, then excellent. She's got a great job now because of it. But 99% of people don't use what they went to school for. They did it.
So you finish your point, and I've got a point to it.
And they did
I
it.
love how he just interrupted you to say, finish your point. He goes, so, finish your point.
All I was going to say is they did it because their teachers told them to, their guidance counselor told them to, and all their friends were doing it, so they followed along and they did it.
That's because when we were back in school, all our teachers were like, go to college, 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 college.
And
but
you know what, dude? The probability of people who succeed who went to college is higher than those who don't go to college. But it's because most people do, or at least they did.
Or try.
Exactly.
But I know so many people that didn't even go to college, didn't even enroll, and are very successful. It all depends on you. But
so I think more than anything, you need to find what you're passionate about. And if that requires a college degree, then get after it.
you want to be a surgeon, go to college.
Right.
Exactly.
But if you're going for liberal arts, if you're going for something that you can learn through experience in the real world, do the real world first, because that's going to teach you more than college ever will. And I feel like, especially like, again, driving for Uber, like I pick up a lot of kids from a local college that the tuition is $70,000 a year.
Wow. Fuck that.
And there's people talking about like, oh yeah, I want to work on Wall Street. I'm like, so work on Wall Street.
Why don't you go do it?
Yeah. Why are you going? You don't have to go to college.
Invest in Dogecoin.
I've made some good money off Dogecoin.
Me
by the
too,
way.
man.
Oh, you're
Me
in
too.
Dogecoin?
I have Dogecoin.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. You're going to spend almost $300,000 to have an education for something you could probably like. If you know enough. I believe networking is more valuable than a college degree.
So I'm going to feed off that
yeah.
by saying by networking, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right. So if
Big believer.
If you can get on the ground level of a place where maybe you're not making great money off the bat, but if you do well there, you can ascend to where you need to be, type of thing. Like for me, that's more valuable than $300,000 of a degree that might get you in the door somewhere. It might get you where you want to go. Like. And again, there's a lot of people that go to college without knowing what they want to do. If you don't know what you want to do,
Why the fuck are you going to college?
Don't go to college. It's the most expensive party you'll ever go to.
A bachelor's degree in liberal arts is the most pointless thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I have a bachelor's degree in management. That is probably the second most worthless degree.
You did used to order the toilet paper and the tape and stuff
And
like
I was
that.
the best at it.
And you know what, though? At the same time, you met a lot of friends in college.
And that's the thing. I would not trade the experiences I had in college because they're friends that I'm closer to than anybody ever had in high school. And to this day, I would never replace those experiences. Granted, I only graduated with probably like $53,000 in debt, which from a college standpoint is
Pretty
really
good.
not that bad.
Not bad.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's like at least 100, 200,000. I think my little brother had over 100,000. But you know what? I envy him because he's a music teacher and he's doing what he loves.
Right.
Yes.
Am I doing what I love right now? Yes and no. It affords my bills and stuff like that. But like, I can't honestly say like I go to work every day like, God, I love what I'm doing.
Sure.
And you're working towards that greater future right
right.
now.
I'm working towards it. I'm on the bottom level, and I know I haven't achieved what I want to, but like he's doing what he loves. He walked into doing what he loves. I've never told him this, but I am envious of what he does because, again, as a music teacher, I can't imagine you're rich, but you're rich with happiness, which I think is more valuable than money. At the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. But back to what you're saying about the whole college experience. Like, I am so happy that I didn't go away to college because if I went away to college, I would probably get in a frat.
Oh yeah,
And I would probably be dead. Just saying.
Probably.
No,
I would probably be dead.
no, you wouldn't be dead, but you'd be like Will Ferrell in Old School, probably.
Well, if I wish I could be Will Ferrell, so if going to college makes me Will Ferrell, great, let's fucking go.
Well, I mean, it's never too late to start, Chase.
You're right. I'm going back to college next semester.
That'd make
Right.
a great movie. Chase goes back to college.
I know, right? But wow, we banked through a lot of that. I honestly didn't get through most of my topics here, but that's okay because I think it's time for a beer review. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
All right, folks. Well, like I just said, now it's time for a beer review. You know how it goes. I pass the beers out to the guests. They rate it first, scale 0 to 10. And today, we've got Steel Reserve.
Have you ever drank these beers?
Have you had a Steel Reserve?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, good, great. Because I saw it at the gas station. Because I like to look at things and I read the name and I see the can. I'm like, never had that. So that's why I like beer reviews.
Wow.
So I'll give you a Steel Reserve. There you go.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So like the beers I buy typically, like especially if I'm in like, you know, local beer store like Minogue's or something like that, I get drawn in by the artwork.
Yes.
So like this particular beer I've been drinking lately, like that one, like once I find the artwork, I've actually got a place up inside my house where it's actually like just beer cans of like,
that's cool.
phenomenal artwork and stuff like that. So like initially I'll buy a beer based on the artwork, and then obviously if I enjoy it, I'll buy it again after
It's
that.
funny you say that because when I first started the beer reviews, I would buy them specifically for the can, how the can looked. And then I ran into the problem where like the can looks great and the beer is not great. So like now I'm just like grabbing shit that I've never had before. But
I was just gonna say the can, like Steel Reserve, you're probably losing people because the quality of this can. But like you said, doesn't mean the beer tastes bad.
exactly. So it's all about the taste.
But you know what? 70% of the time, it works every time.
So yeah, this is kind of a scary can, just so you guys can see it right there. It's very, very bland. It's a very bland can.
Yeah.
But it says Steel Reserve. 8.1%. We like that. Actually, that's kind of scary. This was only $1.79 for this whole tall boy, just so you know.
I'm kind of scared
So
already. then.
8.1% high gravity lager. Steel Reserve. Slow brewed for exceptionally smooth flavor. Ooh. Extra malted barley and select hops for extra gravity.
Don't drink this if you're pregnant. It says.
Well, guys, I'm out.
You shouldn't drink any alcohol if you're pregnant, by the way.
Oh, that sound. Ready?
I'm ready. I'm going to take a sip.
You want to hear it?
So that definitely is a lager for sure.
I don't know what that means.
Me either.
It's a type of beer.
How do you know a lager from another beer?
The can says lager.
Other than that,
It's like the taste. So say if you had like various foods. So like say if somebody put like a meat platter in front of you and they had hot dogs, they had burgers, they had steak, they had pork, they had chicken, you would know the difference by in which it tastes, but you knew at the end of the day they're all meat products. Same thing for beer.
What a great explanation.
Well, I'm kind of a connoisseur.
That's a really great job. I wouldn't buy this beer. I'm not a beer person.
So when you talk about this, are you talking like on a scale of 1 to 10 just based on taste? Or are you talking based on like value? Because you said you paid how much
money
for
doesn't money doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter, but the taste, the impact, like the percentage does weigh a little bit with me. But
I mean 8.1. That's
impressive.
That's
And
pretty high for a beer.
I will say it doesn't taste like it's 8.1%, so I will give them
No,
that.
that's almost kind of dangerous. And I mean, it's realistically 2 beers in 1 can.
Yes, that's my math. I do that all the time. Yeah, when I have a Natty Daddy, it's 8%. I say it's 2 beers in 1.
So what do you do when you're at a concert and it's 25 ounces?
Actually, no, it's actually 4 beers in 1, because half the beer is 1 beer, because it's a 24 ounce beer. So half the beer being 8% would be 2 beers on the bottom and 2 beers on the top.
3 out of 10. 3 out of 10.
That's your score? That's a rookie score.
3 out of 10.
Rookie score. No,
I would never buy
So-
this beer.
no decimal. Rookie score.
I was gonna say, so you're okay. So I mean, it's hard for me because I always think of a value perspective, right? So like I know you said it wasn't a matter of like price or anything like that, but I'm thinking for like 8.1% and being under $2.
Have a Natty Daddy, they're 129 and 8%. Just saying. That's no bias. I'm not being biased.
But for a lager, I mean, it's smooth. It's not bad. However, like it would be the type of thing like if I'm gonna drink a bunch, I'm gonna have this. So in that regard, I'm gonna give it like a 5.6.
Yeah,
That-
that's generous. That's generous. But
That
I
was a
understand.
professional score.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm gonna drink a bunch of these. I'm not gonna enjoy it, but I know I'm gonna have the end result I want.
Right, you know you're going to get hammered. I would drink 2 of these and be tanked, for sure.
Right.
But, let me have one more taste here. It doesn't taste great, but at the same time, it doesn't taste like 8.1%. So, like, it's not my favorite, but it's not the worst I've ever had. It doesn't taste bad.
Like I just
It's-
look at that and I just know that tastes better. I just know that Vermont beer right there just tastes a lot better than this.
Well, that's fair
Well,
because
sure.
because it's a better beer, but it depends on what your value is. If
but
you're
we're not talking about price here.
Hey, Steel Reserve,
No, what
be
I'm-
better.
what I'm saying is,
.com.
I'm saying is your value getting drunk? Is your value taste? If my value is
My
just-
value is taste. If I want to get drunk,
Okay.
I'll be drinking liquor.
okay, so you're not going to drink this if you value taste.
Exactly.
However, if you value getting drunk really quickly,
If I want a cheap drunk, this is the way to go. Yeah,
right,
sure.
So that's why I give it a higher score than it probably deserves.
No, I'm actually, I'd probably go a little higher than you because it's not terrible, and I probably if I was in a pinch and really wanted to get hammered real quick, I probably would buy this if I saw it at the gas station.
I'm
because
still drinking it, so it's
having 2 of these, not terrible, but it's not my favorite thing. So that being said,
It's not natty.
Steel, no Natural Light by any means. Natural Light's my all-time 10. We all know that. I say that every week. But Steel Reserve, high gravity lager, slow brewed for exceptionally smooth flavor. It's not that smooth because I do kind of flinch when I drink it. But if I want a cheap drunk, this is it. So I'm going to give this. I'm going to go 6.2. 6.2. So I wouldn't travel for it by any means. I would not go out of my way to get it. If the nearest grocery store that had Natural Light was an hour away, you bet your ass I would drive an hour away to get Natural Light. Would I drive an hour away for this? No. But if I'm at my local grocery store and they're out of Natural Light and I see this and I can drink 2 of these and get hammered for under $5, sure.
If you're on your way to a party and you need to have something of substance and you see this on the shelf, you're going to pick it up. You're
That's a
gonna
good
pick
point.
2 or 3.
a good point.
You're not going to be like, you know what?
I think 3 of these would kill me.
Well, you don't know until you try.
All right, so on the next podcast, we're going to try drinking 3 of them right away.
Can I be there?
I was kidding.
I'm down for it.
I would die. But yeah, I think 6.2 is on a score. And like I said, you had a professional score. He what'd you say, 3 out of 10?
Fuck you, dude. Fucking 3 out of 10, man.
But,
Rookie score.
But to be fair though, you don't really drink a lot of beer though, right?
No, I don't drink
You're
any beer.
you're a wine guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really drink at all, but when I do, it's wine.
I mean, if you're going off a taste, 3 out of 10 is
Yeah, it
probably
does not
pretty
taste
spot on.
good.
But if you're thinking like, okay, it's 8.1, it's smooth.
It's not bad.
8.1 would be very good. That's a very good beer.
I've had 8.1 beers that are like IPAs. They're very hard to drink. This, it's kind of like those drinks that are like super, like a Long Island. You can't taste the alcohol.
Yeah, you
in it.
can't taste the alcohol in this. You can't.
Right.
You just-
So I feel like that. You know what? This is the Long Island of beer.
It's a lot. No,
You're welcome, Steel Reserve.
Steel
Steal that if
Reserve, you better send a check to Garage Boozing.
Yeah.
that does make a good point because, like, I feel like this is a beer where I would drink really fast and it would creep up on me. But like,
Right.
I don't love the taste. I do like the alcohol percentage.
You like the effect after the fact.
exactly.
It
But
doesn't have an aftertaste, though, which is not a bad thing. Like, it doesn't taste bad after the fact.
it doesn't taste bad, but it doesn't taste good.
Exactly.
It doesn't taste great. But like, could I deal with it if I had to? Sure. Like, I if this was my only option, I'd be fine with it.
I feel like it tastes actually like a Michelob Light.
Let's drink the rest of it and see if it changes.
Oh, I'm sure by the time I hit the end of the sip,
Right.
it's going to be totally different.
Woof! What an episode. Do you guys understand now why I made this a 2-part episode? Because there was so much good content here, I could not fit it into one episode. I had to make it 2. Cody and Brandon, thank you guys so much for your time, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you guys will be back again. But folks, please don't forget the absolute number one way to support the brand. Buy some merch. We've got hats, we've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies, we got sweatshirts. You name it, we got it, and it's all available to you at www.garageboozing.net. And nerds, don't forget to follow the brand on all of your favorite social media accounts at Garage Boozing, as well as YouTube, if you'd rather watch than listen. And of course, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, whatever the button is, on all of your favorite podcast platforms so you can be notified as soon as a new episode is released. We are on Spotify, we're on Amazon Music, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Pandora, we are everywhere. All podcast platforms, you name it, we're there. Go subscribe. Thank you. Well, that's all the time we have for today. And guys, thank you so much for your support. This whole thing would not be possible without all of you. So I thank you guys every week. I'm going to continue to do so because without you, there's no brand, there's no podcast. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. And with all that being said, I'll see you nerds next week.
Ladies, gentlemen, and nerds. Do you have what it takes to be a guest on the fastest growing, alcohol chugging, and nonsense talking podcast? Well, now is your chance. The Garage Boozing Podcast has new guests every week, and you could be one of them. Just simply log on to www.garageboozing.net. Click the Be on the Show tab and submit your information. It's that simple. Join the boozement or be a loser. Don't miss your chance because we're taking this to the moon.